Well, it's martini time again, and happy Wednesday. I was a little conflicted, or not conflicted, but I really didn't know what to talk about. Didn't have something certain, and I didn't have a clear idea of where I was going. I don't usually have a clear idea, but tonight was a little foggier. So I wanted to point out, I was down at Cape Hatteras, and of course they have a lot of beach gifts and crafts when you go there. And you know how I like frogs, which is a threshold guardian in mythology and fairy tales, so that the frog will go, if you lose something, if you lose your treasure, if you lose something, like the little girl in the fairy tale who lost her golden ball in the pond, the frog went down to get it and brought it back. So the frog in mythology retrieves treasure from beneath the pond, which is beneath consciousness. So the treasure is brought up. So there are so many different ways of looking at what the treasure is, but there's always a surprise in it. So even the little thing like this, well, you go to the craft shows, not the art galleries, the little craft galleries, you know, and so my daughter got me this, and it's a little frog on a shell. Little frog made out of 2 shells. It's glued on there. So that's the kind of, so she got it, and I said, oh, that's so, well, I wanted frogs, you know, so I gave me a little frog, and but isn't that clever? She's made that, so it's kind of metaphorical, these crafts. There's creativity. In other words, this is a shell, but this is not a shell. So if it were just a shell, it would be very logical, and it would be, you pick up a shell and look at it, and I don't have any here, but this is a shell, and that's all it is. But this is a metaphor in that this is a shell, but this is a frog. You could say, this is a shell, this is a frog. If you say it's a frog, you're wrong. If you say it's a shell, you're wrong. Now, which is it? You see? So it's a metaphor in that it is 2 opposites contained in one form. So it contains surprise. It's a surprise container. It's a jack-in-the-box. The jack-in-the-box, I wish I had one. The jack-in-the-box, is it a box? Yeah, it's a box. You poke it and a joker jumps out, and you go, whoa! You see? Surprise, right? So I'm thinking about the need we have for surprise. We love birthday surprises, a present. What's in the present? What would life be like without surprises? It would be intolerable. That's why I really think we think we're longing for perfection and unity and rest and permanence. We think we want that. But if we had it, we'd kill it, because there's no surprise. When everything is perfect, there's no surprise. Perfection means everything is what it is. Everything is just what it is. There's no surprises. Everything is just perfect, you see. And that will only last a few minutes before you find, oh, that's something that could be a little better, you know, something. So we can't, permanence, perfection, is a hoax. It doesn't exist, because reality is impermanent, says the Buddha. Reality is change. And change can't be perfect, because perfect means this is it, and it's not going to change any. It's just perfect. Don't touch anything. Oh, it's perfect. Don't move anything. Hold it. Hold it, you see. but you can only hold it so long before imperfection comes back in. And we like that, but we hate it. We like it when it's a game, like a little frog. Oh, that's not a shell, that's a frog. Oh, how cute. And then, of course, we go on. Or unless you give it to me, and I put it on my shelf, and I talk to you about it. My uncle filled his house with little surprises. I gave them most of them away, but this was the last one I kept. You see, you put that on here, put that on your table, and you go, they spilled the beautiful table, they spilled fingernail polish on it. And then you poke it, and you say, oh, it's not fingernail polish, it's plastic. You see, little surprise there. There's an expectation it's this, but then it's not this. Surprise! So we like that. We love that, you see. But in life, we don't like it. Where everything's going along, and the doctor calls and says, guess what? You got cancer. Surprise! Not so much fun, right? So, we come home from a vacation and the house is burned down. Surprise! Not so much. So we like controlled surprises, you know, where we can pretend it's real. But if it's, we don't like it. But the whole point of the transcendental way of Buddhism or Zen is that you welcome change is a surprise. Impermanence is a surprise. If the change is always surprising us. So life is a surprise. Death is a surprise. Birth is a surprise. Everything is a surprise because everything is changing, you see. Everything in Zen, it's not everything is changing. Everything is change. You are change. I am change. Everything, every noun is a verb. If you want to put it in context of our grammar, every noun, which is a thing, that doesn't change, you know it doesn't change because you can look it up in the dictionary. You know, that's what it is. But it's changing. So nouns are kind of like placemats. We just hold it for a little bit. See, this is a shell, right? That's a noun. So it's a noun is a name of a person, place, or thing. The name of a thing, it's a shell. But it was changed into a frog. Surprise! A shell becomes a frog. Of course, now this is a creative change, but in evolution, if you speed up evolution, every species, everything is changing into something else. Everything is changing. Everything is evolving. Everything is moving. Everything is in flux, you see. But we like to look at our world like a bunch of nouns. We don't want, you know, we want everything, we want, because then we know what it is. If everything were, if we really, in other words, we can't maneuver. We couldn't go catch a bus unless we had some sense that the bus is a bus and it's not a snake. Or the bus is, unless we're in Alice in Wonderland, then we might get on the bus and it might turn into a turtle, you see. Or in a dream, or in a book, or in a movie, because they can do that now in movies. You see, in movies, through digital technology, anything becomes anything. Movies become a dream. But in the reality we live in, we like everything to be in its place. Hold steady. No change. Yet, everything is changed. So we're constantly being surprised. And unless we understand the logic of reality, that it is change, unless we understand that truth, we're always going to be disappointed, you see. Now, disappointment is a surprise going bad. It's still a surprise, but it's one we don't want. So we expected everything to be the same. I expected that shell to be a shell. Oh, it's a frog. I'm not disappointed. I'm surprised. I'm delighted. I buy it. I buy the delight and give it to somebody else. See that? See this little frog? This is the art or the craft. They take a little shell and they make a little frog. And you come by and you're surprised. Oh, I thought it was a shell and it's a frog. How cute. Now this contains surprise. It's a surprise container. It's a little vial of surprise. And you're delighted in that. It gives pleasure. So now I want to give that delight to somebody else. So I'm going to buy this. So it has value. So its value is not in the shell. Its value is in the surprise. The surprise has value. So I buy this. And the bigger the surprise, the more I'll pay for it. I don't know what she paid for this, but it's a little surprise. So she gives it to me, and I say, oh, look, it's not a shell, it's a frog. Somebody made a frog out of a shell. Somebody is a magician. Somebody morphed a shell into a frog. You know, and I thought just maybe God could do that, but no, the artist did it. You know, so maybe God's an artist, you know. So anyway, so I buy this, and if somebody comes by and really loves it, I'll probably give it to them. So, because once you have it and the surprise is gone, it has no value. The value is in the surprise. So I kept this. You know, it doesn't surprise me anymore. It surprised me once, right? Oh, I thought it was real, and I was surprised. You see, so it has no more value unless I'm using it to explain surprise. Then it has value. So this whole, you know, if we look at the world differently, so we have good surprises and bad surprises, and we have bad surprises because we have the expectation that we have the false expectation that our expectations of other people and other things in the world around us is going to stay the same and is what we believe it to be, you see. And in the world of impermanence, nothing is what you believe it to be. So we have to be ready for a surprise, you see. And surprises are great because it's only that makes life life. Without surprise, there is no life, you see. So life is a surprise. So we need to understand that there are good surprises and bad surprises. That's fine. But fundamentally, be ready for a surprise, you see, because God is an April Fool creator. You see, April's Fool, this is like one day a month, one day a year. It's April 1, the one day a year. But in the now, which is always one, the now is always one. It's just one now. So every day is April Fool's Day. Every day is a setup for a surprise, you see. So that's where we went with today's talk. Be ready for a surprise. And when you're ready for a surprise, whatever you're surprised with is okay. Because that's the way life is. Life is okay. Life is good. Life is okay. And it's okay because it's always a surprise. Take away the surprise, it's not going to be okay. So, I'll see you in the morning.